Fine face. Good face. Fine face. Good face. Fine face. Fine face. And it gets your face like warmed up.
Super serious.
Where nothing fun or funny ever happens.
This is a super serious thing.
I don't even like dogs.
Super serious.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Super Serious Dog Podcast. Jazz hands. That's for the audio listeners that can't see our jazz hands. Today we have a really special guest for you guys. His name is Kevin Lee. He's a good friend of ours. You're out in California, right, Kevin?
Yep, Northern California, wine country.
Oh yeah. So
nice.
We'll try not to get too sauced while talking to him. But thank you so much for being on our show, Kevin. We really appreciate it. The more the merrier. And
no, I I really think you guys for letting me be on here. I loved your podcast, and you girls are doing a good job with it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So I have an icebreaker question for you.
Oh boy.
It's not serious at all, so don't freak out. But if your dog, or let's say dogs, because how many dogs do you have again? I know you have a few.
In total, I have 5 because my roommate leaves me 2 dogs, so I have 5.
Okay. All right. So if your dogs were condiments, what would they be and why?
Does wasabi count as a condiment?
Yes. Wasabi counts as a condiment.
My Chihuahua Ahi would be the wasabi.
As a Chihuahua should be.
That's perfect.
As it should be.
Kind of burns a little.
Yeah, definitely burns a little bit. I don't know. My Malinois seems like oh my God, it's like some sweet and sour hot sauce or something like that.
Yeah.
Like she's a hothead, but very sweet, but then sometimes can have my sour moments with her. So, and I guess my weird dachshund pitbull mix, Charlie, he's sort of a cool ranch flavor kind of guy.
Nice. That's a really good. That's a good array.
Yeah.
That's a good array of condiments you got there.
I almost called the Chihuahua instead of Ahi. I almost called it wasabi just because we were going with the food theme. So
yeah, totally. That's awesome. That's really funny. So I forgot what I was going to say. So it doesn't matter what I was going to say. Why don't you tell everybody about yourself, Kevin? How'd you get into dog training, and what do you do now?
Like a lot of people, I was a big fan. Like I watched The Dog Whisperer when I was like 11 years old, and I trained I'm glad I'm not the only one. It all started when I had like previous dogs before, but my Shih Tzu that I got during that time I watched Dog Whisperer was the first dog I actually trained. Then after that, I got into like helping out rescues and volunteering my time. And then I guess my career started when I, unofficial, like at high school when I worked part-time at like Petco, sorry. Petco. I also attended the Training Caesar's Way program for like that 5 days where you get to hang out with. Yeah.
How was that?
It was amazing. Although I do regret bringing my husky pit mix who was afraid of sounds in the plane. And it did not help that there was a lightning storm heading to LA as we were coming from New Jersey. So it was, I felt so sad. I was like telling myself I'm such a bad owner.
Dude, honestly, you never know until you try it sometimes, right? Like you think you're doing all the things right and you're like setting them up for success the best way you know how. And then it turns out like maybe you could have done things differently. But that's sort of what dog training is.
That's like the story of my life. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. So like after attending that and I graduated high school, I took a couple of community college credits and I actually moved out to Northern California where I took the associate degree and bachelor's degree at a place called Bergen University of Canine Studies.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is like it's very positive reinforcement based, but like you get a college degree based on canine studies, and I got the base ideas of how to train service dogs, and I got to practice my skills up at the Petco over there after I transferred. And then shortly afterwards, I graduated 2017. I went to Heather Beck's shadow program.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Nice.
you know, she's my all-time favorite mentor so far. Actually, I met her at Caesars, at Training Caesars. Like, yeah, she was one of the training assistants there. And that's how we met from 2013 till now. And
that's awesome.
She's still my teacher then.
Yeah.
And so after that, I started my own business after Petco for 3 years. It's Kanine Freedom. It's like the whole word canine, but you switch the C with the K. Just, you know, you add my first letter, you know. So now I've been doing tons of private lessons. I do day training for owners while they're at work. And I offer large scale socialization classes for puppies and adult dogs. So business has been booming just with all the COVID-19 puppies going on. So it's been really good. It's been a journey.
Yeah, for sure. I have to say, like, Courtney and I are very jealous of like your schooling and stuff that you got. Like, first of all, you got to go to Caesar's thing when you were still in high school. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you actually got to go to college for the thing that you wanted to go to college for. Like most people, like me,
I could not find a college that offered something like that.
Right.
That's amazing. I did not know that existed.
Yeah. Or you go to college because you're like, well, I got to pick something, and you do something either completely useless or something really useful, but then you end up not using it anyways.
Exactly. Yeah. I almost was like thinking, what happened if I did move to California? I probably wouldn't be this dog trainer that I am today, because it was my option of being like a vet tech or like animal science up in my community college. And, you know, just moving out on my own, I'm like the only one that moved in my family, moved out in New Jersey. And it's just been a crazy experience for me, you know, from renting my own place to paying my own health insurance. And then like after graduating and then going to the conferences at the IACP, I just saw the world like, oh my God, the dog training world is huge. It is amazingly huge. Like I get to meet awesome people like you and Courtney. It's just it's just like a giant ass Comic-Con when you go to conferences like that.
Yeah. It's really fun. I love conferences and stuff. And for those of our listeners, I don't know if we've talked about IACP before, but
I don't think we have.
It stands for the International Association of Canine Professionals. So there's a lot of different organizations out there. Yeah. Kevin's sporting one of the hats from one of our recent years. And it's a really cool organization. So there's a lot of them out there. They also offer like certification for dog trainers and that kind of stuff. And they do have, if you're interested and you're a dog enthusiast, you can join as like a non-professional member. You can just become a member, support the organization, go to conference, and go participate in some really cool classes and stuff.
And
this year,
connect with a lot of dog people that can blow your mind.
Yes, some may blow your mind into like, I don't know if I want to do that kind of way. And some will be like, holy shit, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And, you know, hopefully, and the kind of nice thing about it is that like you get to see a lot of different things. They don't just like subscribe to one school of thought or one technique or one anything, which is cool.
Oh yeah. It's nice because you have that sense of community. And then, you know, if you had a question or if your client's moving to like, I don't know, Michigan or a different state, I'd be like, I literally just go on the Facebook group, just like, yo, where my homies at in Texas or something like that. Like who can help me with this dog?
Yeah, I've done that before also. Or like, you know, a client texts me and their sister in another state just got a dog and she's struggling with it. And I'm like, let me see if I know anyone in that state, and just kind of throw that out there and be able to make that connection and know that like that's a legitimate trainer that's going to help them, not someone who's going to waste their time and their money and screw them over in the end. And that's
right. Or go to a Petco training class for like $195 for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
Which that has its value too, right? I mean, you can be a Petco trainer as well. And like, I have tons of people that like with one of their dogs, that's all they needed was that. And then they got another dog and they were like, well, this isn't enough.
Yeah.
I need more. So, you know, good resources out there.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned something, Kevin. So you mentioned something about puppies and specifically, you have a lot of puppies right now.
The COVID-19 puppies. We just did an episode on this, actually.
Pandemic puppies.
Yeah. Quarantine puppy syndrome.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. We have them here in California, too.
I figured they were everywhere right now because, I'm seeing them pop up. I'm seeing my friends that are trainers see more pop up. And I'm like, this has to be happening everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So are you noticing anything with like just an uptick in either like people that like normally wouldn't get a puppy getting puppies, or like certain specific problems that are arising that like didn't seem to present themselves prior to all the pandemic stuff?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just like the problem with everyone being shelter in place, and then they're just like, oh, I got nothing better to do, so I'm going to just spoil the dog and then just let the puppy follow me everywhere. And then, you know, as much as I do, like when they're puppies, they don't focus on training. They just focus on spoiling them and then cleaning after the accidents and all that when they're not watching. So, I mean, separation anxiety is going to be like the main reason we're going to make so much money these days, is just because once they leave, then the puppies are going to be like, where did my mom and dad go? It's that and the socialization part. Everyone's sheltering in place with themselves, and then now they're afraid to bring their dogs out because one case of a dog having COVID, or just getting worried that they're going to get COVID themselves just for taking out the dog is always a big worry. So, and I tell them, you know, you got to be creative in how you socialize your dogs. You know, it makes you a better dog owner if you're adaptive, or flexible, you know, or innovative. Innovative is the word.
Yeah, I definitely have to spend a lot of time encouraging my clients to do regular socials with like close friends and family and people that they trust, and people that are going to meet their comfort levels with whatever that may be, whether it's wearing masks or keeping distance or staying only outside, that kind of thing. But like, honestly, I think socialization is hugely misunderstood by a lot of people. And I'm sure you can attest to that because you do large field socialization. So why don't you tell everybody about what large field is? I think we may have talked about it before. I may have explained it, but go ahead, break it down. What is it? And sort of what are some common misconceptions about socialization that you run into?
Yep. So, I mean, I get a lot of clients that just, when they tell me socialization, they say, oh, my dog has to go say hi to every single person. Say hi to every single dog. Be friendly with the dogs at the dog park, and just be like happy-go-lucky.
Because that's being social, right? And in human terms, like that's being social is saying hello to people, being nice to people, interacting with people. So I think that's where people lose it, because they treat the dogs like people, like little people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that anthropomorphism, or just that humanification for the dogs. And for me, when I tell people, like, you know, you're going to over-socialize your dog either in the hyperactive, jumpy way, or your dog's going to be like, I hate people now, go away, right? So, and I tell them you have to really know your dog to really understand how your social process or your social ritual works. Because if you get like a really insecure dog and you're just forcing all these people on the dog, then the dog's just going to internalize. And then once it barks or once it lunges on leash and then the person backs off, he's like, oh, so that's how it works. That's how I get it to work. And then he just says, this is the shortcut. I can do this now. And then my clients are like saying, oh, he was fine with people when he was young. And then all of a sudden he did this. And I'm like looking at the dog and I'm like, are you sure he was fine with people? Because he looks very insecure to me, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
So and also just like they don't consider all the different ways to socialize. You know, exposing the dog is socialization, right? So just getting used to the different scent, smell. I mean, also the same thing. Just listening to loud noises,
textures,
seeing different shapes, you know, and just exposing to different environments. And I tell people all the time, it's like when you're in the mall with thousands of people, you're not you're not yelling at them. You're not kissing and hugging them when you first see them, right? And so you want to have that same mentality with your dog, just to accept the presence of all the other stimuli, but then still keep going. And that's the big thing that I don't see a lot. It's like they put that human's nature in there, where just like, oh, he should just say hi to everyone. He should be that golden retriever. And I say, well, sorry, your shepherd mix, your Chihuahua mix is not that golden retriever that can just go up to anybody, right? So,
yeah, right.
So my large scale socials, it was first done with a really cool guy who Dick Russell. He was the man who created large scale socializations, and then that's where I learned it from. Jason Vasconi, Heather Beck, especially, when I did the shadow program with Heather Beck, she did her indoor socials where she did like 40 dogs. And then I still need to go up to see Jason Vasconi, but he does like 80 to 100 dogs at his field. And
it's really cool. Like it's so
magical. It's really magical. Like I love it every time I go.
Oh man, I'm so jealous that you're there, just so high, because I keep telling Jason I want to go down there and experience it myself.
When you come down, let us know, and we'll try to come with you. Because any excuse to go see Jason. Like,
I trust me. I have you, and I have several people that told me I need to visit. So I'm going to make a whole Texas adventure week just for.
I mean, it's a big state, so you're gonna need a week.
Yeah,
maybe 2 weeks. I like to take my time. So
we're also like a pandemic hotspot right now.
Yeah, don't come right now.
No,
not right now.
No.
Shit together.
When we find a cure, and then I'll head over there. Don't worry, you'll be on my priority list. But I really like teaching the socials because everyone wants to bring their dog to the dog park, and dogs, it's like bringing your dog or kid to a shady ass bar where you don't know who's vaccinated, you don't know what their issues are. People are just on their phones while their dog's just humping another dog in the corner. And there's no referee, there's no professional to actually stop it before it explodes,
Well, yeah, because it's because anytime a professional walks into a dog park, they have a panic attack and leave. Because I know when I train dogs outside of dog parks and I can see what's going on in them, I'm like, somebody needs to. You're just gonna let that happen? Okay, I gotta. Oh, my, I'm not going in there. I'm gonna keep this dog over here. Not paying attention to that. We're gonna leave.
I almost jumped the fence trying to break up a dog fight. I was this close, but then they broke it up, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm good. I didn't need to get into that. Cool. Yeah. But it's just so difficult, man. Just because everyone's dogs are just gonna get reactive, or they bring their puppy and they have that bad experience, and they have that bad imprint, and then because of that, it makes it hard for both the dog and owner. So. The larger socials are nice because everyone's constantly moving in a big circle. And if you're moving, the dogs are moving. Mm-hmm. So they can't.
And if the dogs are moving, they're happy, they're relaxed, they're not comfortable, they're not stuck, they're not trapped, they're not alone.
Yeah, it's they're not guarding the owners, they're not having the awkward handshake with everybody, with all the dogs. It's just nice. And I tell them, you can talk to all the people, but in the social class, it's their 45-minute break from you, where they can talk to each other about how bad the owners are, or just their funny quirks.
And can you imagine that? Dogs talking about humans? And talk about oh my gosh, look at the human with the big nose. Isn't he funny?
It's oh yeah, I tell them that all the time, but he just ignores me. It's just so funny. But yeah, it's just nice. And then plus, the way it's run, I'm able to bring reactive dogs and give them that social opportunity that they need, rather than go to the beach or an off-leash hike where it's such a risky thing to do, especially in our world where we just sue someone for a little cut.
Yeah.
It's just so
those
risky.
people that don't understand the other side of it. Well, my dog's friendly. It's fine. No, my dog's friendly. It's fine. And you're like, mine isn't. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. And I literally tell my clients, if you have a dog with the issues and you have this person with their golden retriever or just wants a dog lover that says, all dogs love me, or I'm good with dogs, I just say, good for you, my dog bites. I honestly just want to have create the world's smallest liability form and just have them carry it. So it's please initial here if you want to interact with my dog. And then
that's amazing.
Dude, now with phones and technology, you could totally make that work. That could just be a quick Google Doc. It doesn't even have to be anything.
Just gonna need your fingerprint right here. Say you agree to this.
Yeah, just be
and then you can pet the dog however the fuck you want to. You can give him a hug. Go for it. I dare you.
Yeah, you pet the dog, and then if you have to go to the hospital, just show them. Just show that screenshot of the document. Nope, I ain't paying for that.
They signed it. They signed it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too. It's with adults, with us, when we never let our kids or we never let our children go up to strangers.
Right.
We have to
such a good point.
We have to for us to say hi to children, we have to go through a criminal record. We have to get a pre-screening, have to 100 questions before you go up to the child. Whereas the dog,
I mean, even look at them, just look at them. You know what I mean? If you're just standing in line and you're looking at a kid because it reminds you of your nephew, if you're standing too long, a parent's going to be hey, why are you looking at my kid? But you can rush someone's dog. That's a total double standard.
So I have a fun story about B-Town. So one time,
B-Town, I love that boy.
I know you do. So one time, this was when I kind of first got him, and I was realizing oh shit, he's a scary boy. Okay, he will bite the shit out of me and anybody that pushes his comfort zone. And so I was living in an apartment complex, and this person that probably lived further down the street or at a different apartment complex or something like that was just she was pushing a stroller. It was really funny because originally I thought she had a baby in there, but instead she had 2 Yorkies, and I just didn't notice because it was covered. So she was pushing her Yorkies in a stroller. I assumed it was a baby. She goes, "Oh my God, can I pet your Chihuahua?" And I'm like, "No, you can't." And then she started getting pretty pushy about it. And I'm just ha, no, thank you. And of course, at the time, B-Town's in the middle of taking a dump. So I can't just walk on and leave and be ha, okay, bye, like I normally would, because he's doing stuff. And then so she's pressuring. And I'm like, okay, only if I will let you pet my dog if I can have your baby for 10 minutes and hold it. And she was just she looked at me really confused and was like, what? No, I don't have a kid. And I'm like, then what's in your stroller? And she's like, my dogs. Oh, either way, no, you can't pet my fucking dog. And he finished taking a dump, and I picked it up and I left. But the audacity of people is they're so entitled, and it's sort of the same reason that we feel we need to make sure our puppies say hi to everybody and everyone and have the best possible experience. I think it's the same mentality that then also makes them feel entitled to touch every dog they see. There's T-shirts that get advertised to me all the time that are drink coffee and pet all the dogs. And if you own one of those, I am not judging you, because I totally thought about buying one of those at one point in my life, because it's true. I love touching dogs. That's why I do it for a living.
Yeah, I mean, you also just have to work on. Owners have to work on just advocating for the dog, just saying, if my dog does not prefer people, be honest with them, I did this when I was raising my roommate's pit bull. Her name's Apple, and I brought her to a feed store, and I was getting her to climb on some bags of feed. And then this big guy was just hey, you can't do that. And then she's growling. And then this guy just opens his eyes wider, and he's like, "Oh, really?" And then he just continues to stare, and he works there. So then literally I'm like this. I was not polite at all. I was just stop staring at my dog, go. I pointed, go that direction, please. And it's just amazing how people can be have that cue. It's sort of they have autism with dogs, they don't get that social cue. They don't see that social cue that tells them they're uncomfortable. Instead they go, "Oh, really?" or "What's up, buddy?" I'm like, no, don't do that, please.
Misha, do you remember that lady that we watched when we went hiking recently who just stood there and watched her kid run towards a pack of dogs?
Yes. Oh my God. It was so funny. I literally, like, we were towards the end of our hike. We were trying to go back. So we were kind of heading back towards like the main paved trail. And like this kid is just like, he paused for a minute. So me and Courtney just kept standing there, like hoping that the mom would
called all the dogs to us. We had like six off-leash dogs.
And we were hoping that the mom would do the same with her children. Like, okay, they called all their dogs. I will call
the child back to you.
And so the kid's just standing there and nothing's happening. And then he starts to like pick up some speed and start walking towards me again. And I just go, nope. And I turned around and started walking away.
And then he started running.
And then he starts running. But then what happened, Courtney? It's beautiful.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, so he's like running, right? And he's like probably 7. He's like hauling ass.
Yeah.
And he trips and falls.
There's like gravel. And he totally slip out from underneath him forward. He just lands like flat on his butt. And we just started laughing. Like,
and I was like, thank you, universe.
Thank you, universe.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Oh my God. It sounds like that kid needs some good recall training or
yes. Somebody should train him.
Or a long line.
Right.
Yes.
Right. But apparently, leashing your kids is somewhat frowned upon sometimes. So people don't do it. I mean, it's really not that hard to teach your kids recall. If you want some tips, reach out to any of us.
Not me. Don't ask me how to teach your kid to come back to you.
I swear if I get a kid, I'm just going to have a treat pouch for that kid and then, just do all the things that just have his name on it. I'm just going to have like cookies and like,
you guys, I follow a trainer who was mask training his kid because his kid didn't like having a mask on his face and was like, pulling it off and throwing a fit. So he had this video, or he has this video up of him sitting on the couch with like some candy or something, and the kid's next to him, and he like you would muzzle condition a dog, right? He like barely puts it on, and then he clicks and he gives the kid a piece of food.
Oh shit,
he's clicker training his toddler. I'm nuts.
I want to see that. That'd be so cool. Like, oh man, that's great. Great.
It's great. I'll send you the link. It's awesome. I was very happy when I saw it. I was like, yeah, do that. Yeah. We can do that for adults too if we need to,
Oh yeah, we'll just give them like, I don't know, $1 each time,
Yeah, and you build duration, and then suddenly you become comfortable with it. It's like training or something.
And it'd be really easy to jackpot too, because you could be like, sometimes you get a penny and sometimes you get $10.
That'll do it. I'll be like, heck yeah.
So Kevin, you touched on something earlier, talking about wanting, like, if people would advocate more for their dogs. So what are some ways that you suggest to people to advocate for their dogs? I know that's a wide topic.
Well, you gave us one. You said go very firmly to the person, which does work. I've done that to people and they very much either get offended or they go.
Yeah. Or they get offended and then go.
Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah. I mean, like I've had things, like do not pet, or I had a service dog in training and they said do not pet. And yet I still, like, people still can't read and they still like don't listen. Right. So, just having like, I think owners too don't have like that comfortability of telling people that their dog does not do well with people or dogs. And so they just they're like a deer at headlights, right? They just, when the stressor happens, they're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So
I think they feel bad, like I've had that problem a lot with like dogs who are kind of on the fence. Like if your dog is straight up biting people, usually those people go, oh, I have to start saying no. And it forces them out of the comfort zone. But I think it's that like middle of the road dog that sometimes like it, sometimes doesn't. I think those are the people that have to practice saying no the most, because like it's hard to tell when it's going to happen, and they feel bad. Like they genuinely are like, but I'm a nice person. I'm an outgoing person. I like interacting, and like I just want my dog to like it too, but I know he doesn't. But like I just feel bad saying no, and it's like you have to get over that shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, especially if your dog is trusting you to handle the situation. And then you put him in that situation. He's like, I don't trust mom. I'm just going to do this myself. Like I can't trust the owners. And then that's really bad. Even just using like your body language, even like putting your hand out, like stop, game between you and the dog, being like, hey, let's really be blunt with him. Hey, listen, my dog does not like the normal approach. And just learning from the IACP conference, like, just the wording, like I would say, it would be great if you could do this instead, or it would be helpful for him if you do this. Yeah. And just having that communication, which a lot of people, they just want to pet the dog. So and
that's kind of like in dog training, right? Where you don't want the dog to do something. So you're like, don't do this instead.
Yep. Yep.
So don't pet the dog. Instead, ask me. Yeah.
Yep.
And then I'll tell you no. And then we'll be done with this.
Oh, yeah. And then, the thing is, like, everyone's just staring at the dog. And everyone's just, like, putting so much social pressure on the dog. Yeah. I was watching this movie, and I think a lot of girls say this most of the time, too. It's just, like, I quote them say, my eyes are up here, my eyes are not down there. Yeah. And they just laugh. It's just like, it's true though. Like you're talking to you, not the dog.
Staring. Yeah, totally. I think one thing that's helped some of my clients too, that are like more on the I'm too nice side, is like, just say, no, thank you, my dog's in training, right? Or maybe they don't want to publicize that their dog bites because maybe they're afraid of liability or something like that. So just saying something as simple as like, no, thanks, my dog's in training right now. And they're like, oh, okay. People almost always are like, oh, okay. And then they like put their hands behind their back really politely, like as if they're trying really hard to like really focus on not touching.
I have seen this. I have seen them put their hands behind their back and been like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I love it when I see little kids do that. It's the most adorable thing because then they just look really hard, but they're like, don't touch, don't touch.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I didn't notice that till you just said something. And I was just like, oh yeah, they do that, huh? Uh-huh. That's awesome. I totally didn't get that pattern.
Yep. Well, now you know. Now you're gonna see that shit everywhere if you go out in public.
every time I'm gonna see that, I'm gonna be like, Misha said it. Like, I'm just gonna be like, Misha. I'm gonna count how many times I saw it.
Dude, totally. Send me a full report.
But yeah, I mean, like my large field social is just nice because I tell my clients, don't talk to the dogs, don't talk to or reach down. You can't give them treats.
No petting.
And no petting. It gives that dog who's reacted to people and all those other dogs a chance to be around in that structured, safe setting. And not worry that someone's going to try to reach down and pet them because, again, the dog needs exposure, just being around people and being okay. Yeah. And, also too, just, in moments of like tension or when if a dog's trying to hump or if you have like, or, if you really have this insane dog, that's just like, that can't be around dogs, When you have like a dog on a muzzle and you try to bring it to the dog park, everyone's just like looking at you weird.
Yeah.
Right. Or like that dog should not be here. Like get out.
Yeah. And but it's just a safety tool. I mean, it's like a seatbelt for your teeth.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a safe muzzle dog is a safe dog. And I mean, I know like other trainers, I know like Jay Jacks, says things like, muzzle's like a kickboxing glove. Like he can still punch, but like it buffers it. But it's just like it gives people that sense of comfort that if I can handle the dog, I deal with your dog. You don't do anything. You just keep walking, and I'm with the dog with this horse with the horse crop or whatever. Just just to help be his shadow, just help him make the right decision and just be. And I work him up to like being off leash potentially, or, just at least give him that social experience where outside of that, he can't do it, Yeah. And I have like all these bullies that I have like 2 bullies that are really very annoying with other dogs, but I put them together. They're like best friends. Aww. I have a wolf hybrid mix. I don't know how much wolf she has, but she got kicked out of daycare and I brought her into social and she's doing good. It just gives dogs like that a nice opportunity. And then like for me, if something happens, like, we do have scuffles here and there. I have me and my helpers to break it up and, all it takes is one crack on the bum, and then they stop. Next thing you know.
Yeah, they're like, I shouldn't do that.
And then it's resolved and there's the opportunity to survive past that point. And so so tensions go up for a second, but then like it's over.
It's over,
It's
but you
not
also
up to me.
continue.
And then we continue and we all survive. And you're still here. I guess you're all right. Whatever dog they had an issue with, they're going to pass by again. But I bet they're not going to take the same issue they did because it wasn't really worth it.
Yep. Yeah, it's nice because the horse cup, again, it's just like an extension of my hand, and I don't get my hand in there, and I don't need to have holes in my hands and arms or teeth, so.
And you can manage your space too. So for those of you, because at first I thought you said something else, Kevin. I thought you said horse cock.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was horse whip or horse crop.
Crop, like a riding crop.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed.
You broke it, Misha.
Well, on that note, that's all the time we have for this episode today. So thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys want to support us, please like, rate, share, subscribe, etc. You can also support us by going to Patreon and subscribing there as well. You can go to patreon.com/Super Serious Dog Podcast. And there's actually going to be a longer episode with Kevin on there too, where we're going to go into even more depth about not horse crops.
It won't be the other thing too.
Hey, you never know. It gets crazy on the Patreon.
It does.
I know. That's why it's called the Serious Podcast.
Super.
That's right. Super serious.
So Kevin, if somebody wants to get in touch with you or they want to check out your stuff, how can they do that?
Yeah, they can go on kaninefreedom.com, or if I do this online membership for dog training for pet owners. It's called Kanine Freedom Network. Cool. It's like a monthly subscription, and I put basic obedience in there in ways to enrich your dogs, and awesome. Gonna do Facebook Live topics and Q&As. So it's also in my website for online training. So yeah, I would appreciate it if anyone want to come out and interested.
Awesome.
Also, my bad for wrapping up the episode and then telling you to be like, hey, tell everybody how to get in contact with you.
Super serious. It's super serious. We do everything just the way we planned it all the time.
Yeah, no pressure.
All right. Thanks for listening, you guys, or watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.